Have you ever seen something that just didn't add up? A moment that left you scratching your head, asking yourself, what did I just witness? We're going to break down a really tense encounter on the side of a highway that left someone feeling exactly that way. It had all the ingredients for a really bad fight, but it ended in a way that nobody saw coming. You see, what that bystander saw wasn't weakness, and it wasn't confusion. It was, believe it or not, a masterclass in action. So today, we're going to deconstruct this entire event, piece by piece, to really understand the art of winning a conflict, well, before it ever really begins. Let's dive in. So, picture this. It's late at night at a gas station right off Interstate 40. A man we're going to call Fred is getting gas. He's in his 50s, but he has this really calm, easy way about him. His wife is waiting in the car. Out of nowhere, this huge pickup truck towing a busted-up RV just barrels in, and the driver, who we'll call Barney, he is clearly having a very, very bad day. Barney starts demanding that Fred move his car right now. Fred, totally polite, says he will right after he gets his change. Well, this simple, calm response just sets Barney off. He jumps out of his truck and starts screaming at Fred's wife. Fred walks out, says something calm to his wife, gets in his car, puts it in reverse, and just drives away. Barney, furious, chases him down the highway, right on his tail, only to suddenly pull over just a few minutes later, completely defeated. Now, if you're watching this, your first thought might be that Fred just backed down, that this was weakness, right? He didn't stand up to the bully, he didn't fight back, he just left. But was that what was really going on here, or was it something else entirely? The truth is, what we saw was the exact opposite of weakness. It was a display of skill so high level that it was almost invisible. The person who analyzed this called it seeing a ghost, a technique so subtle and so rare it makes you question your own eyes. The sensei who broke this down put it perfectly. He said the confusion comes from the fact that we're all expecting a familiar story, right? We expect aggression to be met with fear or more aggression. But Fred, he wasn't interested in reading from that script. Think about it like this. A guy like Barney, an aggressor, he needs a predictable response. He's counting on you to either cower and give him power or get angry and fight him. Either way, he gets what he wants, a conflict on his terms. Fred did neither. He just calmly declined the invitation to the drama. So how in the world did he do it? This wasn't just luck or a personality trait. It was a series of very specific, trained tactics. Let's break down the tools that Fred used to completely dismantle this threat without ever having to throw a punch. Okay, the first and maybe most important tool is all psychological. It's something called the OODA Loop. See, every conflict has a rhythm. An aggressor will observe what you do, orient himself to your reaction, decide his next move, and then act. Barney was trying to get Fred stuck in his loop to control that rhythm. But watch closely how Fred completely shattered that rhythm. Barney makes his demand. Fred doesn't refuse, that would be a fight, and he doesn't immediately obey, that would be submission. No, he politely agrees, but on his own schedule. This little move completely short-circuited Barney's brain. He couldn't orient, his decision-making process stalled, and for a second, he was just stuck. Now, as Barney gets more frustrated and starts screaming at Fred's wife, things could have gotten really bad, but this is where the second tool comes into play. A very powerful, very modern kind of shield. His wife just started recording him with her phone. In that one single moment, the entire power dynamic flips on its head. Barney isn't an anonymous bully anymore. He's now a suspect, creating evidence against himself. His actions are being recorded for the police, for a court, for anyone to see. And if there's one thing predators hate, it's being watched. So with Barney now flustered and on camera, Fred uses the third tool, tactical mobility. He doesn't try to be a hero and drive forward past the big truck. He sees the escape route Barney never even thought about, reverse. It was the simplest, safest way out of the danger zone. Now, to the person watching, what happens next seems so strange. As Fred gets to his car with all this chaos going on, he asks his wife a really simple question, and she gives a really simple answer. This right here shows you just how prepared they were. That wasn't small talk. Are you ready was a pre-planned code. It meant, are the doors locked? Is your seatbelt on? Are you braced in case I have to drive erratically? And her all set was the all clear. It confirmed the car was secure and ready for an escape. They had a plan, and they'd clearly practiced it. Now pay attention to this next part. Someone who's scared would floor it, right? A panicked person would be swerving all over the road. But Fred, he drives exactly the speed limit. This wasn't because he wasn't scared. It was because he had discipline. He was actively bringing his own adrenaline down, resetting his body to a calm baseline. He refused to let a tactical win turn into a speeding ticket or an accident. He was in total control. And that brings us to the most fascinating part of this whole thing. Barney, the guy who was so full of rage, just gives up. He pulls over and stops the chase. But why? Fred never touched him. To get why, you have to look at biology. Barney's body was absolutely flooded with fight-or-flight chemicals. He had a cocktail of adrenaline and cortisol pumping through his veins, getting his muscles ready for a physical fight, a fight that never happened. See, Fred denied him the fight. He didn't fight back, and he didn't run like prey, so Barney was left with this massive chemical dump in his system with absolutely no way to release it. And this is a huge lesson. Keeping that level of rage going is exhausting. It's metabolically expensive. It burns through your body's energy like a wildfire. Barney pulled over because his body just quit on him. He had an adrenal crash. He was left shaky, drained, and physically unable to continue. So in the end, Fred didn't actually beat Barney. He just created the perfect conditions for Barney to beat himself. So what do we take away from all this? The incredible calm that Fred and his wife showed, that wasn't just how they are. It was the result of practice and preparation. And it really shows the difference between two very important states of mind. There's anxiety, which is getting lost worrying about what might happen. And then there's awareness, which is calmly processing what is happening right now. Because Fred and his wife had a plan, the phone, the code words, the escape plan. They could stay in a state of awareness instead of getting drowned in anxiety. If you've ever replayed a bad situation in your head, beating yourself up about what you should have done, this is the most important lesson. Shame doesn't help. Regret doesn't help. What you need is a strategy, a simple plan, talked about ahead of time, that you can fall back on when stress makes it impossible to think clearly. And all of this leaves us with one final crucial question to ask ourselves. For most people, a car is just a way to get from A to B. But in a crisis, it can easily become a trap. Fred and his wife prepared to make their car a tool for their survival. So the question you should ask is this: is your car a trap or is it a tool?